Okay, now we're ready to do the purchases daybook. So this is the second part. You should have out your purchases daybook, your notes if you want. And we're now going to start at the creditors. Okay, so here's our creditors control. We're still on the 28th of the 2nd, 08. Where are we coming from? Purchases. Okay, our reference is PDB1, and you'll know that from your own sheets. Sorry, that it's there, isn't it? Okay. Again, keep doing it and bringing it through. It's part of your audit control. Now, the figure is to go to the credit side. So here we are, credit 6452.03. Okay. So creditors by their name are all, well, you expect them to have a credit balance when you're finished. Okay, so the bigger amount is always on the credit side, which is your invoices. Creditors are a liability because you're liable to the people for the money that you owe them. You have the goods and you still owe them this money. All right, so now the next account is purchases. So you're going back over to the second page and you're going to write a purchases account. Okay, and again, the 28th of the 2nd, 08. You're coming from the purchases. Your reference, PDB1. And as we said in the previous video, purchases are always debit. Okay, expenses are debit. And the purchases of your raw material is your largest expense, typically. Now, the work that you're doing here, bringing the stuff from the purchases daybook, is very important. It's important that it's analysed correctly in a more detailed way than we're doing right now, because that it forms the backbone of the actual accounts, in that the expenses that come across need to be put in the right place, because people may make decisions straight off what you've done, and if you've done it incorrectly, you're given the wrong information. Okay, so that's our purchases. Our VAT. So again, we're going back to the first page to go to the VAT account. 28th of the 2nd, 08. Now you can use the ditto marks if you like. I'm just using the same date here all the way down just to help get the point across. Okay. Purchases, PDB1. Okay. And the note says debit the VAT, but we know also that we debited the purchases, so that we are doing the same thing. Okay, so it's 1104.03. And again there I made a mistake, so you can overwrite it and it's clear enough, but don't use Tipex. Okay, so that's our 3 entries done for the purchases daybook. We're moving on now to the purchases returns. So the first entry again is the total, and the total goes in to the creditors control. 28th of the 2nd, 08. Okay, purchases, returns, PRDB1. And again, you're also always using pen because you're making a permanent record. I know it's nice to use pencil and it's easier, but this is a permanent record for your company. Okay, and the note says that it's debit the creditor. So here we are in the debit column, 648.56. Okay, so tick it just that you have it done. It's a good idea to tick as you go, because you can be disturbed and it's much easier then to find when you come back where you were and stop you eliminating or leaving out a figure. So now we're going to the net. So again, we're opening another account called Purchases Returns. Okay, Purchases Returns, as you know, is the book that you enter your credit notes that you receive from your suppliers. Okay. So we've done the creditors. We're now doing our purchases return. So it's our net figure. Okay, 28th of the 2nd, 08. Purchases returns, because that's where it's coming from, and that forms part of the audit trail also. PRDB1. Okay, the note says to credit the purchases returns 536, and as we already said, we debited the purchases. So an invoice and a credit note. One is the opposite of the other, and that's what we're indicating here, we're opposite. Now we're going back to the first page again, to our VAT account. Okay, 28th of the 2nd. Okay. Purchases, returns, P or D B1. Okay, and the note says credit the VAT. Okay, 11256. And as we said, the VAT always goes on the same side as the analysis code. So when the double entry system was invented, there wasn't VAT. But we're following the same rules, that whatever goes on the debit, the same must go on the credit, even if it is going into two accounts. So that's the credit notes done. So now we're moving to our cheque payments. Okay. Right, so again here we have the total that we paid out, what we paid to our creditors, and then what we paid out also in expenses. So we're going to page 2, to our bank account. So we'll only have one bank account, the way your bank statement indicates when it comes. Okay, so we're going to say bank payments. Okay, and it's coming from the bank payment. So CPB1, excuse me, and the total is going in there. It's going in on the credit side. And as we said in the earlier video, the money going out is on the credit side in your own account, and the money coming in is on the debit side, the opposite of the bank's record of your account. Okay, so that's that. Now we must go back over to the first page to do our creditors. Okay, so 28th of the 2nd, 08. In cheque payments. CPB1. And the note says to debit the creditors. So the 1914.10. Okay, so now that will give us the net figure. Okay, so take the calculator again. Okay, so to be correct, we're saying 648.56 plus the 1914.1, and then we're minusing the 6452.03. Okay, so that gives us a figure of 3889.37, and just put credit behind that. Okay, because it's a minus on the calculator, it's a credit. The bigger figure here was credit, so that should indicate to you that you're going to have a credit balance, and because we're in our creditor's account, we should have a credit balance. Okay, that's what we're expecting. So that's our creditors done. Okay, so now we're moving on to page 3, and we're going to set up an account for electricity. Alright, so again, electricity is an expense, the same way it is at home. Okay, and it causes the same problems. Okay, cash CB, page 1. Now the note says to debit, because it's an expense, you're always debiting your expenses. Okay, so wages is also an expense. Okay, depending on what you do, it can be a large expense. Now this account is the wages that you've paid through the bank, so it's the total of the net pay of your employees. Their total net pay is added together that we're actually looking at. That figure actually represents 28th of the 2nd. Cheque payments. Okay, and again it's debit 520. Okay, so now we have bank charges. And again, bank charges, as you know, are an expense. All right, 28th of the 2nd, 08. And again, keep the reference going. And it's 12.50. Okay, so that's the end of our transactions here. You might have more columns in a real sense, because you most likely would. So you would just continue to post all of your expenses in the same manner. Okay, so that's the end of this stage. There's a third one now for just collating this information for the trial balance. Thank you.